First is respect. As you know, respect is a feeling of positive regard for someone, esteem for them. We can have respect for specific qualities, like accomplishments, but the respect that you want to feel from your therapist, when you want to feel respected, first of all, and when you're respected, you don't want the value to be based on your age, your ethnicity, how much money you have, how good looking you are, or whether or not you're a man or a woman. When you feel respected, you feel like you have the right to your internal subjective experience of things as much as the therapist does. That you have intrinsic value because you're a person, and that you and the therapist are both people first. You're human beings first. You have humanity, which is so much bigger than just the problem you're working on. Ways that this may show up, and respect always shows up in behavior and in nonverbal communication, especially facial expression and tone. The opposite of respect is contempt, and you want to never feel that your therapist treats you with any sign of contempt, any kind of disdain or belittling or judgment that diminishes you or devalues you. So how are you going to know? What kinds of behaviors can you look for? One is in how disagreements or differences of opinion are handled. If you're treated respectfully during a difference of opinion, for example, if you are expecting to come to an appointment at 4 o'clock and the therapist calls you at 3:15 and says, hey, I was expecting you at 3 o'clock, and you say, no, well, I have it in my book at 4 o'clock. And the therapist says, well, I have it in my calendar at 3 o'clock. And so you'll have to pay me for the session. Well, a respectful therapist won't assume that you should defer automatically to him or her, but will say, well, do we have any corroborating evidence, like a voicemail or an email or a handwritten card? And if we have no external confirmation, then we are equally likely to have made the mistake. So therefore, you should not be held fully responsible for the fee, and the therapist shouldn't lose the whole fee. Why not split it in half? I think that's a respectful conflict negotiation. Or what about the common area of conflict between therapists and clients, which is that the client is ready to take a break or to end, and the therapist doesn't want them to, and gives reasons, often vague psychological reasons, for why the person should continue. And too many people feel like they are going to make the therapist angry or annoyed if they leave. I've heard this report many times. I think it's unfortunate, because then sometimes people leave not feeling very good about it, and other times people stay longer than they wanted to. But a respectful therapist will help you decide whether or not to leave right now is a good decision based on not just the work you're doing, but on other aspects of your life, the context, whether you have a new job, for instance, or financial limitations. There are many reasons why people leave therapy besides that the work is completed. In fact, in case you haven't noticed, there's always room for personal improvement. That is never a criterion for why we should end therapy. So the point here is that the therapist that is respectful will give you a feeling of being respected in every interaction. And if there is a disconnect and you feel disrespected and you voice that, the therapist will move to repair that and correct that right away.